master class for Serpent
I'll
Path.
be going to Crossroads.
Garbers,
That's not
owls,
gonna help
and
them,
dragons.
right?
So if you guys could introduce yourselves, what path you've done, and how long you've been in Amtgard. We'll start on this end, as always, going that way.
Hi, I'm Finley Fortess. I am the Garbing Path, and I've been in Amtgard for 7 years.
I'm Sesasha, and I am a Master Dragon, but they're for Bardic, so I don't have anything to display. And I've been doing Amtgard for 11 years.
I'm Draeva. I'm also a Master Dragon for Scrolls, so scribe work, and I've been doing Amtgard for 9 years.
I'm Breeder, I'm a Master Garber, and pretty close on my dragons, I guess. I've been playing Amtgard for 15 years.
I'm Anya. I'm Master Garber 10 years in Amtgard, I believe.
I'm Meraki. I'm a Master Owl. I've been in Amtgard for 25 years.
All right. So, what got each of you guys into crafting?
Not having enough money to pay other people to do it. I am not kidding. I showed up to Amtgard broke. And I was like, man, I want some cool garb. And someone was like, well, I can teach you. And I was like, I will learn. I will absolutely learn. So, yeah, that's 100%. I just don't have the money to pay other people.
I have been a theater kid my entire life. I started performing when I was very, very small. I think I was 6. Yeah, I was 6 in my first theater production that I was in. And as an adult, there's not a whole lot of outlets to be able to, perform and put yourself out there. So Amtgard just happened to be the right opportunity at the right time for me.
Similar to Sesasha, I'd already been doing traditional illustration, and I'd been an art kid for my whole life. And I'd already been in Amtgard, but I don't remember which Saw Wars it was, but there was a few knighting scrolls where I looked up and I'm going, oh, I could do that. Oh wait, I could apply my skills to that. And yeah, I was too late after that. Sorry. Doomed.
Similar to everybody else, I've always enjoyed art classes and arts and crafts classes. And then specifically when I got into Amtgard, I really, really wanted a specific set of court garb to get made. And I was brand new, and I messaged a couple of people online, and they never got back to me. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to figure out how to do it myself. It was like 10 years after that before I could actually do that. But
I got into Amtgard because of my kid and CJ, and I don't sword fight, so I was like, I'm gonna do something else.
So I'm a tattoo artist by trade. I just like working with my hands. So when I went more seriously into Amtgard and was looking at ways to compete, fighting didn't seem like it was going to be my skill set. So I leaned more into competing on the arts and crafts level.
So I see we have a lot of lovely pieces up here to show off. Beautiful, beautiful. I don't know if these are specifically what you guys have in mind, but what is a project that you're very proud of, or I want to hear about what you guys have brought up and stuff like that.
So I brought my very first tunic ever. It was for a Gryffindor reign. And then the last tunic that I made before I was mastered, basically, is this one. The one I'm probably most proud of, though, is the one I'm wearing, because bricks are a word I'm not going to say on camera. But yeah, so this is my engagement tunic. My wedding tunics were modeled after this, but in white instead of black. And I received my, I want to say 8 and 9 for the set of wedding garb that I did for my wedding, which ended up being about 18 pieces. So that's probably my biggest accomplishment, I would say, is those 18 pieces.
And they were wonderful.
Thanks.
I'm gonna say the thing I'm the most proud of. In 2015, I competed at Best of the Best at Rackus, and I won. And the Bardic that I did is called Der Sesasha, which is an aria from the Magic Flute. It is widely acknowledged to be one of the most difficult arias in the soprano repertoire. And God bless them, someone actually got video of it. And I was able to find that, and so that's currently posted on my Facebook because I was just so pleased to be able to find that video again. But that, although I did not get any awards for that, is the piece that I am by far the proudest of.
Oh, I too, as you can see, I came very well prepared. But also, it's when your medium is scrolls, once you hand them off, they're on someone's wall or they're in someone's garage, like they're handed off. But I never remember to take photos of them usually before I hand them off because I'm in Goblin art mode. Oh yeah, yours is one of my favorites too, which that's also ones that I've been most proud of are the ones that I've done in the last like 2 or 3 years. My most recent one was Lucas's Knighting Scroll, and that one I was very proud of because it was very intricate and I lost several emotional points because I went full Goblin art mode. But yeah, that one, even yours is one of my favorites.
Mine's
and
got, lightning bolts all around it.
yeah, I tried new things on yours.
And
Yeah.
there's like a color, like blue gradient.
Yeah, the gradient, that was a new thing I had tried, which, yeah, honestly, the ones I was most proud of are the ones where I tried new things, and it worked out. I'm going, all right, cool, I'm going to use that in the next one. Yeah. But yeah, that one, and I did a Master Anti-Paladin for my knight, which had an inside joke on it, which also made it one of my favorites.
What was the inside joke, Cass?
No, COC. No. I've never been banned in my life. I'm not starting that out. Yeah, those, and I did another masterhood for my best friend Whiskey too, and I was really proud of that for both skill and personal reasons.
The easy answer is all of them. I mean, look around. Probably half the people in this room is wearing something I made. It's nice to be able to see all of that, but specifically, in recent memory, I made one that it was a blue ring octopus coming off of the shoulder. It took forever, but it was very pretty. Loved it.
That's a lot of circles.
A lot of little circles, yeah.
I think my favorite is my surcoat that I'm wearing. It's got Halloween Town all the way around it with characters. But yeah, if you look at Rusty Gauntlet, most of the garb there is mine.
Do you want to stand up and show it?
Oh, the dress?
Or there's dress, the sleeve coat.
So I
want to see what
Rocky's dead.
You want what?
I want to see the Halloween Town.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
There, look at that.
It was a nice one. You hated yourself that week, didn't you? Sorry, that month.
Wow.
All that application.
Yeah. I feel like those are some of the best projects that come out is when you hate yourself a little bit when you're making it.
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Yeah. If you don't take damage points, then
Then
you're
it's
not
not
doing it right.
good.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
am I really gonna sit here and do this? Yes. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
And then this is what I got my 6th Order of the Garber for.
Ooh.
So,
I love that fabric.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And then I made a belt to go with it. But
That's cool.
Hey, I'm going to send people that want court garb to you from now on. I don't want to.
you don't want to do court garb?
No, I don't. I don't like it. I miss
And then
it.
I've been making this belt.
I can do it, I just don't want it.
It's those linings.
Yeah, it is.
It's stuff poison apple.
Ooh. You're not getting that back.
They're for his wife. She has a whole set.
Oh, the thing that the thing I think I'm going to be the most proud of is the one I make next. I just really enjoy making things, and I think the thing that I like the most is the belt that this one's wearing. Nightmare Before Christmas themed belt. That was a lot of fun to do. I brought my bracers up because I happen to have them in my bag. And I got these somewhere. They got an award somewhere 7 to 8 range. Yeah, I like working on stuff and learning new things, and testing myself is the key.
Pushing yourself, yeah.
9th and 10th, Rocky, by the way. It was either your 9th or 10th for those.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Are you sure you're not middle lap?
And you take them and you roll them around each other, they almost perfectly match up as you roll them around. I judge those.
I made these as part of a suit of armor that is straight memes. So like I have a shoulder with ice with snowflakes on it. It's because that's my cold shoulder. These are my bare arms.
You're right to bear.
Yep.
Oh, that took me too long. God damn it.
Yeah, it's a good suit. We're still in progress. Ever evolving.
What prevents you from burning out, especially around events when you have a lot of commissions coming in?
Time management. I'll say I'm only going to do however many you're comfortable with. 2, be honest with yourself, that's important.
That's the hardest lesson to learn, is
Yeah.
you have to know your limits, and you have to learn that the hard way sometimes.
I'm only going to do 2 this event and don't take any more.
Learning how to say no.
Yep.
Learning to go back, this might be controversial, but if you do take on too much and you get to the point where, say something happened recently, I went from working 40 hours to like 80 hours a week, and all of a sudden I can't do garb very often. Having to go back and be like, hey, I'm really sorry, with enough time that you can find someone else to do this before your due date. That's, in my opinion, just as important as saying no. Because if you wait to the last second, now they're screwed and you're screwed. But if you can kind of, okay, something happened and I really have to back off, I'm sorry, here's your money back, here's whatever, good luck. I think is also a really important skill to have.
I also, when I take commissions, I also tell them, I'm like, there's no time limit. Like, I work 2 jobs. Like, don't give me a time limit. Yeah.
I have the opposite sometimes, where I very much have to have a deadline.
Otherwise it'll never get done.
Or even with, because I have ADHD and I have no object permanence, and sometimes I'll, like recently I have a knighting scroll that's in the works, and I haven't started it yet, so in my head, it doesn't exist yet. And I already had someone messaging me like, oh, hey, I just want to check, like, we have a couple of awards, and first I was going to be like, oh, yeah, sure, what's the timeline? And I realized, oh, no, don't do that to yourself. You've done that? Nope. Spreadsheets, organization, and then having a backup, too, when you do have to cancel or, like, say no. Like, it helps, too, if you're familiar with other artisans in your area that you can recommend.
So the things that I do make that are physical, I don't accept commissions. I make gifts. Occasionally people are welcome to reimburse me for the materials that go into those gifts, but they are gifts. And that takes a lot of the pressure off of me, and also a lot of the expense off of them. That way it's a labor of love instead of one of stress and anxiety. But due to a number of different circumstances in my life, I haven't sung anything in competition since 2017. So I've taken a very long break from that. So there are a lot of ways to manage, I guess, is the moral of that story.
Fight procrastination. That's my killer.
Yeah.
I know how long it's going to take me to make something, so I'm like, I don't need it till Salt War. I can start that 2 weeks before.
Yeah. I think I had a masterhood scroll that was drafted, taken care of, and pumped out in 1 week before the event. It was one of my best ones, though. But
Sure.
yeah, no, I don't remember. Don't ask me anything that happened during that week.
There's a chance I may have made a knighting gift at Salt Wars.
Yeah. It'll give you sometimes your best work. Well, yeah.
Got another question.
What did you do for your final masterhood award, and or what would you look for if you were looking to give someone a masterhood?
I think technically my 10th in masterhood is written on the orc as for garbing the kingdom. I have a very similar situation to you two, where like I look at my park and they're wearing my clothes. We actually play like a game at Ren Fair. I'm like, there's 18 of you wearing something I made. Like I said, this is the last thing I made before masterhood. It doesn't say that this is what it is, but this was entered into Best of the Best. It has won a Dragon Master at a local level. As far as what I'm looking for, I don't think there's any way to actually like for masterhood. I think it's like a very specific thing, right? Just because I'm a master garber does not mean I know how to do every type of garb. There's a lot of stuff that they know how to do that I don't know how to do. I'm assuming there's probably something I know how to do that they don't know how to do. So, like, I am pretty specific on applique, and I have to be really good at applique. So I'm looking for another master. I'm looking at what their sort of sub-genre is, what that specific thing is, and their progress, how far they've taken it to. Do they have much more in that specific subgenre? And are they going to continue if we give them this masterhood, right? Because I don't want, not that I would use that to prevent anyone, but I don't want someone to be like, cool, I'm done. You're never done. Unless you really want to be, but you're not done because you're perfect or because you're a master. So that's what I'm looking for.
So I performed the diva dance from The Fifth Element. Thank you.
I still don't see that video.
That I do not have video of, unfortunately.
Get work and do it for me. My performance.
I may need to get back in shape. So that was the ultimate project, but I had also won every local and kingdom and
Best of Best.
almost every interkingdom event that I had entered for 4 years. And I wasn't getting awarded, so I just kept entering and kept entering and kept entering and kept winning. So I think it was kind of a confluence of all of that came together with, you can ask Breeder, actually, he's the one who gave me my masterhood. So, but what I would look for, I would say I look for difficulty performed incredibly cleanly. I mean, whether that's with garb, making sure that your seams are finished and that you're actually completing your project, that it's done clean, it's done right. You're not hiding little futz areas. If we're talking about 2D art, I'd be looking for proportion. I'd be looking, if it's paint, I'm looking for brush strokes. How does this look? How does that look? I frequently will go to other artisans who have more expertise in a particular medium than I do, to be able to ask their opinion. What are you looking at? What do you see? What should I be looking at? There is an enormous variety of things that fall under the dragon umbrella. So, and really under all of the serpent umbrellas, there's an enormous variety of skills and techniques that can go into so many different arts. So you can't possibly be an expert in all of them. So yeah, it's really important to ask other people who have more expertise than you about that. But clean, well executed, complete. These are the things that I'm frequently looking for. When I saw those bracers, because I also judged that competition, I was just knocked over with just how clean they are. There's no bleeding as far as the paint goes. The tooling is all very even. It's just unbelievably well executed. And it was just looking at that, I just went, nope, he's there, he's ready for his masterhood, having seen those. Your turn.
Oh, well.
Speaking of ADHD.
Oh yeah, I went for yeah. Oh shit. But yeah, for mine, I got my masterhood after I completed Lucas's Knighting Scroll, and by no means that wasn't my first Knighting Scroll. I think that was my second, and I've never given out a masterhood award, but from what I was told on the feedback, because afterwards I was like, why'd you give me this? you think I earned this? Why? And what I was told is that basically they're always looking for growth, and you always want to strive for growth. So with each project you're looking to grow. But what I was told is that like they saw that my style had become consistent, the quality of all of my scrolls had become consistent. And when you're looking at someone's art with masterhood, you're looking at, oh, that person knows what they're doing. They're consistent. They've got a distinct style. They know what they're doing. And I entered very few, if any, of my scrolls into any tournaments. But I was fortunate where, since they were awards, there was a lot of exposure. So they were seen, people noticed. And so consistency, exposure, and you want to constantly keep striving for growth and to keep going. But yeah, people start noticing once you start getting your groove. And that's when someone looks at you and goes, oh yeah, you're a master. Because they're like, oh yeah, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. I'll ask them for advice.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a good point. When people start asking them for advice, that's usually a good cue. And it needs to be organic, not they're soliciting. I mean, you need to be willing, but if people are coming to you...
What's your secrets? Tell me now!
Without you asking for people to come to you, that's going to be when you know. Demonstrable knowledge, I think, is what I was going to say. We should be teaching, we should be passing it on, because nobody up here got their skills, everybody learned from someone. So you got to be that teacher, or else there's not going to be people that know after us.
And if you don't have a teacher, you'll be that person for others.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Breadth as well as depth. So usually people are really, really good at one thing, and then I'm looking for them to have ancillary things that they're trying out. They're at least decently good at other things too. So if that's applique, yeah, you're really great at applique, but you can't finish your seams. That's not helpful. But like for Sesasha, she does a lot of fiber art stuff, even though that's not her primary thing. She does other things, and pretty much everybody does that. I think it's like you're so good at that thing that now you have more effort to put into other things, and I think that's a good indicator. And then when people recognize it as your style, I think that's really important. So if you can go and talk to people and they go, yeah, that's a breeder tunic or whatever, then there you go. That's a good indicator.
So you just took all my answers?
They took all mine. I wrote it down.
We'll start at that side after the next question.
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna touch base on like teaching people and I don't know, like, and I always go above and beyond and try to learn new things as well. So your turn.
Equal parts of being the best that ever was and nepotism. Equal parts.
No lies check.
Next time I'm sitting here, you get to give all the
No
bullshit.
lies check.
Except if you say it, people will take you seriously.
On a realistic note, it was
My
to the point where I was comfortable entering something and saying, I'm going to compete with it. When I felt comfortable with the stuff that I was making and saying, I'm gonna like battle it out with the people that I respect the most, and I think I have a fighting chance, that's when I accepted where I was at.
And I have one further thing to say that I forgot. It's a myth that you have to enter to get masterhood. Completely.
Yeah, like I said, I barely entered any, if anything.
At the last 5 or 6 years, I don't think I entered anything.
And honestly, like the only
It's harder
time,
that way.
I've entered one kingdom thing, and then the rest of it's only been for crown quality. So,
Yeah.
but that's my anxiety.
Yeah. Are we done with this question before we take it home? Everybody
I
good?
think we're good.
So this one's actually specifically for Sesasha, and it's kind of a two-part question. So one of the things about Dragon Path and arts and sciences in general is that a lot of things have much more objectivity to them than music specifically, and that is in no way saying that they're easier to judge or harder to judge, they're just different to judge. So when presenting musical entries, I can see some transmissibility to the previous answer to this question, but how do you, I guess for lack of a better word, market music through that subjectivity?
Okay, this was developed over a while, my strategy around this. So, trade secrets, okay? You're not just singing, you're performing. And when you're performing, everything that you're doing for that comes into it. It's a lot easier for other people to hear that you're singing in tune if you have accompaniment. So whether you play guitar or you've got the song on your phone, and if you do it on your phone, for the love of God, bring Bluetooth speakers. Having accompaniment really, really helps. Having garb that's specific for whatever character you're playing helps. Acting the character really helps. There's a lot that goes into all of that. But that performing aspect is a huge part of it. And I think a lot of people who do Bardics fall short just because they have a nice voice and don't go that extra bit. The second part is it sounds so narcissistic, and I hate it on not the performing side, but I also tell the judges what to listen for. This is what makes this piece impressive. Pay attention to this stuff. Because a lot of them don't know. Most people have not studied opera. They're not just going to randomly know what makes opera work and what doesn't. So I tell them. And yeah, that I have found to be real helpful as well. Just because, again, it's that same, I don't have this expertise, so I'm going to look for someone else. Well, I know a lot of people don't have that expertise, so I'm going to share.
I mean, that's like having a card, right?
Exactly. It's what that
Same thing.
is when you're performing a Bardic, that's your card, is that introduction piece. This is, at least in the case of opera, this is from this opera, it is this character, here is the context of what is going on, these are the things you're going to want to listen for, this is what makes it a challenge, and then you go. But I think those two things really made a big difference in the scores that I got. Largely because, I felt like there was some education that needed to happen there. And things started improving later when I started doing that, so.
So my second question, obviously piano is my chosen path. What would you recommend for like accessibility? Because I obviously couldn't bring a piano to Saltwar, and that was the biggest feedback that I got when I had the best, is that they wanted to see it live, and I was like, we're in a park.
They want you to haul up Baby Grand onto this campsite.
So that's kind of what confused me, because I was like, I don't have $500 to drop on, because I'm not going to be able to find a keyboard that would be able to do what I wanted to do for under $500.
So in terms of, your options pretty much in that scenario are going to be either bring a keyboard with and do it live, or to record yourself in advance and give them the recording. Having said that, invest in a good microphone and a good camera for those recordings, because the closer you can get to the true sound, the better it's going to be, and the better the results on that judging will be. I entered an Olympiad where I got roughly the same feedback because I wasn't actually physically present. And the recording, basically, they were like, you didn't have a good enough microphone. Which was true, I didn't. I did not make that investment, and I should have. I'm sorry. I wish I had something better to tell you.
Bouncing off of that, actually, for things like pianos or even voice, a lot of our A&S competitions take place outside, and weather is rough. How do you face having a Bardic of some kind that might be affected by the weather? Would be encouraging Kingdom or Particles to have like Dragon Masters indoors is hard. How do you face not knowing what your location might be?
So, okay, as a performer, you're basically stuck with whatever you get handed. Having said that, and I'm going to switch hats for a second, as a regent, as someone who's autocrating that particular competition, you want to try and arrange entries in such a way that it's the least stressful experience for the people who are entering as possible. So generally, if you can, do Bardics first so that they're out of the way, and you can have at least a greater degree of control around venue, around what's happening, because you're starting right at the beginning with that. And then shortly thereafter, do food, because hot food gets cold, doesn't get judged as well. So, but that's really on the autocrat for whatever competition it is. There's nothing stopping you from going to them first off and saying, look, I'm performing a Bardic. Can I please go first?
Yeah.
So related to a Bardic, I have a lot of people come to me and ask me, okay, I have this very obscure skill that I'm really good at. How can I make this work? And my advice is find a way to make it Amtgard related. So one time I was at an event, and I don't remember what the event was, but Feast was late and everybody was grumpy. And when I say late, I mean it was like 2 hours late. So one of the Serpent Knights for Bardic got up there and just started entertaining everybody. So he found his, that's how he affected the game. That's how he was able to keep everybody's mind off of Feast being late, and then all of a sudden it went from everybody being upset to everybody enjoying themselves, and all of a sudden Feast is ready now, another hour later. So yeah, finding something to be of service, I think, is really important.
So bouncing off of that for the niche thing, says I'm one of the two people who's been doing the hobby horse thing, and that's
There are two?
there are two. Mom's in Idaho.
Okay.
She's the one who started it. I've been taking things to 20. But I've been entering the hobby horses and race events. Finley was a judge at these Best of the Best.
I think most of us were.
For that.
Yep,
prior to my
I definitely was
recent
there.
one.
Yeah.
Yep. It was a recent one. And where would you take such a, for the moment, one-person thing, I guess?
So
just keep pushing and developing that.
Are you asking how to push and develop it, or are you asking how to make it relevant?
I've been making it relevant. I'm
Okay.
worried about that.
I would say you're making it relevant, and that's what is pushing and
Yeah.
developing it, right? Because I was there that first year, or at least from my perspective, the first year that you brought it to Salt
That was
Wars,
the first year, yeah.
and the presentation and everything, and then so by the time we got to the second year, I saw the growth of your horses, and I was like, oh, you did this new thing with it, so that was cool. So the more. And I was also at Once Upon a Time that you were at. So the more people see it, the more they're gonna see your growth and notice it, and that's how you keep pushing it, is keep educating. Similar to going up to the judges and being like, this is what you're looking for, because y'all don't know opera, or I don't know hobby horses.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like the best of the best options, is because you get to talk to people and ask them questions. Is this how it's supposed to be? Many people forget to put that in a write-up for a normal A&S. It is supposed to be a weird color green because of this. If you don't put that, I'm going to say that green is really weird and it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? So, yeah, sorry, I interrupted you, Rocky. I apologize.
Oh, put me in, coach. I'm so ready. So I have a lot of obscure hobbies, and most of them are not Amtgard related. One of my favorite things is painting miniatures. I had long conversations with most of Serpent Knights in Amtgard about their niche thing. Scribe was really informative. And I think that when you have a niche market on on the craft that you like to do, and you want to broaden that out, holding a class that teach people how to make them, so by proxy you're teaching people what you're doing is not just a basic thing, it's a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of developed skills in it. I think that teaching people how reflects on the end result a lot more, and it gives a lot more depth of knowledge for everybody in the community.
It helps to utilize social media too, on especially if there's not of one other person that's doing it. There might be more. So if you go, especially going on Facebook.
I'm on a Discord, and Instagram is very good.
Exactly. Yeah, and joining different groups. I didn't even know a lot of the variation of scroll work that there could be in Amtgard until I started joining scribe pages and different A&S groups, and I was going, oh, well, there's I have an entry, this is a part where I can grow from here. These are people I can talk to. Or if you're becoming an example yourself, people aren't going to know unless you show them. And if you can't always afford to drive to different events and show them off, you can just be hey guys, this is what I worked on this week. This is how I did it. Yeah, and then you might have someone else. Yeah.
Use that TikTok.
One of the
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you
Done
told me
reels.
TikTok, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
there's
"Oh,
probably a hobby
I'm
horse
thinking
TikTok.
now."
Yeah.
I resisted for years.
One of the really great things about having a kind of obscure skill is that give it a little bit of time and everyone will know who you are.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's the girl who does hobby horses.
Yeah.
Everyone will know who you are. It makes it much easier, especially as you get to your upper level ladder awards, to be able to achieve those because the whole kingdom has seen your stuff. And they all know it, like, that's the hobby horse girl. She does hobby horse, like, look at how great her hobby horses are. That's a real asset to have.
Sounds like a lot of the consistencies that we all have in common is growth, consistency, and exposure.
Exposure does a ton to
Yeah.
help.
Have to have exposure.
Teaching people
Yeah.
about your art.
And teaching, yeah, yeah.
And one for Rocky. What kind of advice would you give somebody who's never done anything with leather but wants to?
So I think leather, when I learned it, it was really hard to learn through videos, and that's just not how I learned. I went constantly into local leather stores, and I had some really great friends of mine that worked at Tandy or worked at the other one. Developing the skills and learning how to do something, I think is really something that most people are falling short on in the Amtgard, as far as like learning how to do this skill, because the teachers and the people are not always in the same place. And so, like, I think that things like this are amazing, where you have the ability to come and learn from Sume how to make a sword this weekend. Things like this are really important for teaching, as well as just being able to go out and talk to somebody or put somebody in that position in your support circle.
I would say with that, I'm with you. I can't learn from videos. However, I can refresh from videos. So if you can, you sit down with Rocky and he teaches you a couple of basic things, right? And then you go and watch videos later and you're like, oh yeah, I remember when he said that. I have this now base knowledge and now I can refresh from videos. So like finding different ways to learn and also like refresh the skills. I still have to call up my belt brother when I make a belt. I'm like, what order do I do? It's water and then it's this. So like that's a thing.
I think another thing too is bearing in mind that you're not going to be good at everything you pick up right away. And if you want to acquire a skill and it's not something that you take to right away, you have to keep doing it. And I'm thinking about that in terms of leatherwork because I don't have the patience to actually get good at it.
Yeah.
It just makes me mad. So yeah, if you want to be good, you have to get over that mad hump and really get into it.
Be willing to be bad before you're good.
And have patience with yourself.
But if you do hate yourself when you're doing it, it sparks no joy. You can always be like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'll try something else. Like I was trying garbing when I first joined Amtgard. I was really trying to like, oh yeah, maybe this will be the path I'll go into. Hated every minute of it. Did not spark a single bit of joy. But yeah, the second that I started making scrolls, I was like, I hate myself, but I love myself. Oh yeah,
Bias state versus French students.
yeah.
Bias state.
Flat-felled
French
all the way.
students.
Yeah.
Nope, flat-felled all the way.
If you're having a problem with bias state, come talk to me later.
But art is supposed to bring you joy as the individual who is the artist, but also as you're giving joy to other people. So yeah, I definitely agree. There are times to call it, and I feel like it was wise for me to do that when it came to leatherwork.
So do you guys find more satisfaction after a long, difficult project than just a short, quick one?
Not right after.
Once it's given to the person, they like it.
When they're excited, then it's good.
For me, it's when the person gets the award, and I'm like, oh, they love it. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
great,
yeah.
great. Because if like nothing's worse than if you like, put like blood and tears going to this thing, and it gets handed off, and the person's like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, when
It grates.
I have this cycle that I go through where I start and I'm super excited about this project. I have this idea for this project. Okay, and I'm going to go and collect all the materials I need for this project. And then the first hour that I'm working on it, I love this project. and then I hate it all the way up until I'm done.
Every single knighting scroll.
And about 3/4 of the way through, I come up with an idea for another project that I have had to hack my brain and say, no, you can't start on that one. You can't even collect materials until this one is done. Finish this one. But I do love the end results. And I do love when, you know, I've made somebody a gift and hand it off and they're so excited about it. And I have a unicorn that I made for someone for a knighting gift that has traveled all over Amtgard, even though that individual can't necessarily travel all over Amtgard. And I get to see pictures of it at so many events. And they come across my feed and I'm like, there's Petricorn again. It makes me so happy. So it's nice when you make a gift for someone and they really appreciate that.
Stay off the internet while you're making it.
Yeah.
I'm good at 3/4 of the project that I start. I'll get about to that wall where I'm like, this is the worst. And then I'll find out somebody makes it for way cheaper than I would sell it for. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Where's my priority in this?
I find that when I get in that 3/4 of the way, that this is too tedious, why did I do this? I send pictures to Breeder. I'm not kidding. I'll sit and I'll be like, look at how close I am. It's gonna be so pretty. And or I'll make my husband come downstairs, come look at it. Isn't this part pretty? And he just has to say, it's gorgeous, it's gonna be great. I'm like, all right, cool, I can finish this.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little
Just
bit.
so, you know,
Look at
if you
this.
need to
Yeah,
send me
look.
photos of what you're working on, I will tell you how pretty it is and that it's going to be amazing because sometimes that's what I need. I know there's a fair amount of people that are like, wow, sometimes you get recognized really quickly. And I was like, oh, I send pictures to people because I need constant feedback. And I just know that about myself. If your best friend is getting an item that I'm making, I will probably send you a progress photo because I want you to say, they're gonna love it. That will give me the energy to keep going.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've had that too, where I'll be right in the middle of draft, because for me the drafting part's always the worst part. And I'll be getting through, I'm like, I hate it. This looks horrible. I know I can do better. And then I'll send a snap out to my close friends that I know aren't gonna blab. And they're like, oh, that looks great. I'm like, it looks great. I'm awesome. I got this. And then I started oh my God, this is looking terrible. I sent it, oh, that's looking great, Cass, you're doing great. I'm like, that's right, I'm doing great. Oh yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does this.
Oh yeah, no, I need constant validation.
I think everybody.
Oh yeah.
Don't look at it when done.
I sent a lot of pictures to Lucas.
Yeah.
The word sneak peek right before the picture.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
I'm like,
I've had it.
little sneak peek, here you go.
That's what's nice about Discord, it's got spoiler.
I'm kind of the opposite. I don't want to show anybody because they're going to ask me a bunch of questions, and also I know that lots of stuff is ugly. At least I think it's ugly until it's done.
The ugly phase.
So then they're going to be like, oh, well, what about this? Doesn't that kind of look like? That doesn't look exactly like how it will. Just calm down.
I know it gets serious for him when he walks next door into my shop and he's like, would you please look at this for me? That doesn't happen often.
How do you guys deal with, what's the word, creativity blocks and stuff like that?
Interest.
Breaks.
But yeah,
Breaks.
go to bed.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Yeah.
That one for both creativity blocks and if you've messed up more than twice,
Don't
put it down.
Yep. Just walk
You're gonna
away.
ruin it, put it down, come back tomorrow.
Which is why you got to have the time management skills to have enough time to put it down.
Yep.
And don't drink and sew. I learned that.
True.
The next morning you're like, oh, I have to unpick all that.
I started a different project. I'm like, ooh, we're at the wall. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this. I'll start something new.
No,
That's
And this
when
will
you-
go back for me.
That's when you discover your other hobbies, is when the one you're like, I need to take a break. Maybe I should take up beating. Then you hate that and you go back to the other thing.
So I have
You want to be good again?
I have a
Let me
little
humble
mental
myself
list.
with leatherwork for a second. I'll go back to what I know.
So I have a mental list of all the other things that I want to do. So I collect that as I go, and because I only do one project at a time, I almost never hit the creativity block. Usually it's more like I have to finish this one before I can start the next one. Finish it, Finish it.
Also be kind to yourself, because sometimes with me, art blocks usually come with, come on, you do it, just do it, come on. But when I start to like, all right, take a break, you can do it in the morning, you have time, you've paced yourself, the kinder I am to myself, that helps with art blocks, because, yeah, the meaner you are, the more you're just digging the hole deeper.
I'm with Rocky. I start a different project.
You got 5 minutes.
How do you guys find time to get creative, and have you had to give anything up to do it?
I do a lot of my creative planning while I'm at work doing tedious jobs. So, yes, I've had to give up other things. I've had to give up other, lots of video game time gets lost. I think my husband the other day was like, you ever think about not taking commissions? And I was like, you just want to play video games with me. Shut up. I got stuff to do, man.
I crochet while I'm watching Netflix. So it's during my downtime from real life anyway. And it typically fits in there. As far as practicing singing though, I actually have to set aside time to practice, especially if I want a reasonable chance of it sounding decent when I perform it. So that one, yeah, I definitely have to actually say like, okay, here's my half hour. Google Calendar is my friend, because it allows me to actually set that time aside. Like, this is what I'm doing for a half hour. But yeah, I mean, a lot of craft you can fit into other things while you're trying to decompress anyway.
Yeah, I call mine art goblin mode for a reason. Yeah, I've gotten to where I know myself well enough now. It's also, yeah, like once you start to know yourself, you can know like how you act when a project's coming up. Yeah, I know where at least 2 weeks before something is due, or if I'm getting in the flow, I make sure that because relationships are kind of what kind of get cut out when I'm really big on a project, and I just know I'm like, all right guys, I'm going in art goblin mode, red alert, you won't see me again for a week, sorry. But yeah, scheduling and knowing your limits and such.
A regular job is what I've lost.
Mundane.
I have to schedule time for the other things because I'm crafting all the time. When I used to craft before it was my job, I don't know, I was bored. I had nothing else to do. It was late at night. I was just watching TV anyway. Might as well do something. Hard question for me to answer, sorry.
Mine is, when I craft, it's calming to me. So it's part of my mindfulness time, part of my self-care of like, I'm just gonna work on this. Like, but I do like multiple different things. So like if I'm not in the mood for sewing, I'll draw or I'll crochet. I crochet all the time at work. It's what I do. I sit on the sidelines and crochet and talk to people. But yeah, it's just that balancing of and having time for your self-care as well.
Yeah, plan for aftercare if you know you're gonna be really diving in deep.
I feel like I have the opposite problem. I have a lot of big priorities in my life, like my kids. Being monarch right now, it's really easy for me to back burner all of the crafting, and that's a lot of my passion. So making time for the crafting isn't losing other things. I prioritize those other things more and should give more time to do this in my life.
Oh, you're healthy, ew.
To find time for the other things.
You need more help.
No problem crafting. Crafting's easy.
Yeah.
Have to quit your job.
K-dramas for Luke's, and I still haven't
Warlord
recovered.
Serpent, thank you guys.
Yay!